Act 1, Scene 5. The lights rise on the exhausted pilgrims within a tavern in Canterbury.
Of weeping, wailing, care, and sorrow, I know enough, even in morrow, and so do others more than be wedded. I trust that it be so, for well know I, it fareth with me. I have a wife, the worst that there may be, for thou fiend to her a coupled were, she would be more than his match, I dare swear. If I were not so bound, I would never again come into such a snare. We wedded men live in such sorrow and care.
Well then?
Oh, good Dame Hostess, I have been wedded for these past months too. And no more, thank you. Yet I trust a man that his life, all his life hath wifeless been, and though he be stabbed through the heart, could in no manner tell of so much sorrow as I could tell you now of my wife's cursedness.
Now, merchant, since you know so much of that art, full heartily I pray that you tell us part.
Gladly, but of my own sorry heart I will tell no more, yet giveth me but a quarter of half an hour. Giveth me a quarter of an hour, and at that time I shall have sufficient power.
Blackout. End of Act 1, there will be a 15-minute intermission. Act 2, Scene 1.
Once there was a dwelling in Lombardy, a worthy knight who was born of Pave, in which he lived in great prosperity. For 60 years a wifeless man was he, and followed I his bodily delight. On women there were as his appetite.
As the lights rise, January enters slowly and sits on a bench in his house.
When that he was past 60 years, for if religion or dotage I cannot say, but such a great courage had this knight to be a wedded man, that both day and night he doth all that he can to seem who he might be wedded to, that he might once know of the blissful life that is between a husband and a wife.
No other life is worth a bean, for wedlock is so easy and so clean, that in this world it is a paradise.
Thus said this old knight who is so wise. Now this January of whom I am told, considered hath in his days the lusty life, the virtuous quiet that is in marriage honey sweet. And on a day for his brothers he sent to tell the effect of his intent.
Friends, I am gray and old and almost on my pit's brink. About my soul I must think. I have my body foolishly expended. Blessed be God, it shall be amended. For I will be certainly a wedded man, and that anon in all haste I can, to some maid fair and tender of age.
Now see here.
Or I will be a wedded man, certainly. But one thing I say, my friends dear, she shall not pass 20 years, certainly. Therefore, I say to you plainly and in a clause, I will have no old wife for the cause.
Shortly for to say there fell a strife betwixt the brothers two, of which one was called Placebo. Justinus, soothly, was called the other.
Oh, January brother, full little need have ye, my lord so dear, to ask counsel of either that is here. Ye be so full of wisdom. Truly it is high courage of any man this advanced in age to take a young wife. Do you in the manner as you like, for finally I hold it best.
Now, my brother, be patient, I pray. Since you have spoken, hearken what I say. Roman Seneca, among other words wise, said that a man ought right well consider to whom he giveth his land or his cattle, and since I ought to consider right well who I give my goods, how much more I ought to advise it be to whom I give my body forever. I warn you, it is no child's play to take a wife without considering it. A man must inquire, this is my assent, whether she be wise, sober, or drunk, proud, and otherwise a shrew. All this asketh is leisure for to inquire. Ye may, for all of me, do right as ye liketh, but consider this, ye be a man of age. The youngest man that is in all this rout is busy enough to have his wife to himself. Trusteth me, ye shall not please her fully years 3.
Well, are you done? A straw for thy Seneca. Placebo, what say ye?
I say that it is a cursed man that hinders matrimony.
With that word, they rose suddenly, being assented fully that he should be wedded, and when he liked, and to whom he should.
The light floats down onto the merchant.
Many fair shapes and many fair visage passeth through his heart, night by night. But if one hath beauty in her face, another stands well with the people's grace. For her meekness and benignity, of people the greatest voice hath she. Some were rich and had a bad name, but nevertheless he ended the game. He at last settled on one, and all the others from his heart were gone. Placebo came, and his other brother soon, and 1st January made from them a boon, that neither of them made arguments against the purpose that he would take.
The lights rise as May, in a wedding veil, the lady-in-waiting and wedding guests enter.
He said there was a maiden in the town, which of beauty she had great renown. Albeit was she of small degree, sufficeth doth her youth and beauty. The maid, he said, he would have to be his wife, so to lead in ease and blissful in his life. They made it so by sly and wise entreaty, that she, this maiden who was called May, as hastily as ever she might, shall be wedded unto January. Forth cometh the priest, they were wed with solemnity, and at the feast they sitteth he and she upon the dais. Full of joy and bliss is the palace, before them stood musicians of such sound that neither Orpheus nor Theban Amphion ever had made such a melody. Bacchus poured wine all about, and Venus smiled upon every man, for January had become May's night, and Venus would both test his courage in liberty and also in marriage. For with her firebrand in her hand, she danceth before the bride and all the guests.
Venus burns Damien, a young squire, with her torch. He cries out and stumbles into May, spilling wine onto her sleeve. As Damien wipes her sleeve, their eyes meet. There's the sound of magic.
Yet this January is ravished in a trance, and every time he looked on May's face, and in his heart he began her to menace, that he that night in his arms he would constrain her harder than Paris ever did Helen.
Alas, O tender creature, would that ye might well endure all my lust. For it is so sharp and keen. I am aghast that ye might not it sustain. God forbid that I do all my might. Oh, would that it were waxen night, and that night would last evermore. I wish all these people would leave.
May, still gazing into Damien's eyes, turns reluctantly to January as he pulls her out of her seat for a brief dance.
They dance and drink fast, and spices all about the house they cast. Full of joy and bliss is every one, all but a squire called Damien. So sorely hath Venus hurt him with her brand, that she bore while dancing in her hand. To his bed he went hastily. Soon after that, this hasty January would go to bed. He would no longer tarry. He drinketh ipecac, claret, and vernage of spices hot, to increase his courage. And to his friends said thus he,
As soon as it may be, leave this house for courtesy.
The guests shake January's hand and exit.
Night, with her mantle that is dark and bright, began to spread over the hemisphere about, for which departed this lusty rout from January with thanks on every side. Home to their houses lustily they ride, and January fast in his arms did take fresh May, his paradise, his mate. He wooeth her, he kisseth her oft. He wooeth her, he kisseth her full oft, with thick beard and bristles unsoft.
Alas, I must trespass you, my spouse, and greatly you offend ere time comes that I will down descend.
Thus laboreth he until the day began to dawn, and sang full loud and clear. Then upright in his bed sitteth he, kissed his wife, and made wanton cheer. Who knows what May thought in her heart when she saw him sitting up, in his shirt and his nightcap, with his neck lean.
I thought his playing not worth a bean.
May exits angrily, followed by January. Lights shift. We are now in Damien's room.
Now, I will speak of woeful Damien, that languisheth for love, as she shall hear. Damien no longer might in this way endure, so privily a pen that he did borrow, and in a letter wrote he all his sorrow, and in a manner of complaint or lay, unto his fair fresh lady, May. In a purse of silk hung in his shirt, he put it, and laid it near his heart.
How may this be that Damien attendeth me not? Is he sick? How may this betide?
You must excuse him by cause of sickness. It keepeth him from doing his business. No other cause might make him tarry,
That I regretteth.
quoth January.
He is a gentle squire, by my troth, therefore manly and serviceable, and hath been a thrifty man and able. Dame, take good heed, after supper, ye with all your women, when ye goeth out of this hall, all ye go see young Damien. Do give him sport. He is a gentle man, and telleth him that I will him visit after I have rested me a bit.
This fresh May goeth straight her way with all her women to Damien. Down by his bedside sits she then, comforting him as goodly as she may. Damien in secret wise, his letter to which he written had his desire, hath put into her hand without anything more, save that he sigheth deeply and sore, and softly to her thus said he,
Mercy, do ye not discover me, for I am dead, if that this thing be known.
Certainly, and that this thing may displease I care not, for here are you assured to love best of any creature, though you had no more than your shirt.
See how pity reigneth soon in a gentle heart. This gentle May, filled with pity, a letter made she in which she granted him her grace. He combed and preened, and doth all the lady liketh, and thus leave I Damien about his needs, and in my tale I will proceed.
The lights dim except on the merchant.
This noble January, with all his might and honest wise, as should a knight contrive to live deliciously, he made a garden walled all with stone. So fair a garden I know of none.
The lights rise again. We're in January's garden. He enters, leading May by the hand.
Full oft Pluto and his queen, Proserpina and all her fairies, sport and make melodies about the garden and dance, as I am told. This noble knight, the January of old, such delight hath it to walk and play as he will suffer no one else to bear the key, save for himself. In summer season thither he would go with May, his wife, and none other but those two. Things which were not done abed, he in the garden performed well sped. Yet alas, this noble January hath waxen blind, and all suddenly he weepeth, and waileth piteously.
Oh, woe! I am blind! My wife! Take me back to my palace!
Therewithal the fire of jealousy, lest that his wife should fall into some folly, so burned his heart that neither in the hall, nor in any other house, nor in any other place nevermore would he suffer her to ride or go unless he had a hand on her always, for which full oft weepeth fresh May. Now this May I spoke of, in warm wax hath imprinted a key that January bore to the small gate, through which into his garden he often went, and Damien, that knew her intent, counterfeited that key full privily.
Damien enters through the gate, locks it behind him, and hides behind a bush. A moment later, January unlocks the gate. He may enter, and January locks it again.
How fairer be thy breast than wine. The garden is enclosed all about. Let us make our sport. My dear spouse, beyond doubt thou hast wounded me in my heart.
Such lewd words used he.
Now, wife, here is but myself and thou, that art the creature I love most.
And with that word she saw where Damien sat in a bush, and to cough she began, and with her fingers gestured that Damien should climb a tree that was heavy with fruit. Up he went verily, for he knew all her intent.
Pluto and Proserpina enter.
So it befell that bright morrow tide, that in the garden on the farther side, Pluto, that is king of the Fae, following his wife, Queen Proserpina, whom that he stole out of Mount Etna, sat upon a seat of turf fresh and green. Right anon, he said to his queen,
My wife, there is no one who'd say nay. The experience of it proveth every day the treason which that women do to men. See you not this honorable knight. Because, alas, he is blind and old, his own squire shall make him a cuckold. Look where he sits, the lecher in the tree.
Pluto claps his hands. A fairy leaps on stage to kneel before him.
Now, will I grant by my majesty unto this old blind worthy knight that he shall again have his eyesight when his wife would do him villainy.
Ye shall, will ye so?
Proserpina claps her hands. Another fairy leaps on stage and kneels before her.
Now by my mother's sire's soul, I swear that I shall give her a sufficient answer. And all women after for her sake, even though they be in any guilt to take, with face bold they shall themselves excuse, and bear them down that with them accuse. For lack of answer not one of them shall die. And had a man seen a thing with both his eyes, shall we women face it heartily, weep, swear, and chide subtly.
Dame, be no longer wroth, I give it up. But since I swore my oath that I would grant him his sight again, my word shall stand. I warn you certain I am a king. It sits not with me to lie.
And I am a queen of fairy. Her answer she shall have. It I undertake. Let us no more words hereof make. Forsooth, I will no longer be to you contrary.
Now, let us turn again to January, in the garden with his fresh May and Damien, who sitteth full merrily, high among the fresh leaves green.
Now, sir, I must have the pears I see, or I will die. So sorely longeth me to eat it, though the small pears green.
May places January's hand upon her belly.
I tell you, a woman in my plight may have for fruit so great an appetite that she may die unless she have it.
Alas, that I have here not a knave that could climb, for I am blind.
Sir, it doesn't matter. Would ye but vouchsafe for the pear tree in your arms to take? Then should I climb well enough, if my foot I may set upon your back?
Oh, certainly, therein shall be no lack, even if you help with my heart's blood.
He stoopeth down, and on his back she stood. Anon this Damien pulled up her smock, and in he thrust.
Pluto's fairy runs forward, blows powder into January's eyes, and his sight is restored.
Help! Out! Help! Alas! Harrow! Oh, lady, what dost thou?
May climbs down as Proserpina's fairy whispers in her ear.
Sir, what aileth you? Have patience and reason in your mind. I have helped your eyes blind. Upon peril of my soul I shall not lie. I was taught to heal your eyes was nothing better to make you see than struggling with a man within a tree. I did it with full good intent.
Struggling? Yea, albeit in it went. He swived thee. I saw it my own eyes.
Then is my medicine all false? For certainly that if ye could see, ye would not say these words to me. Ye have some glimmering, but no perfect sight.
I see well as ever I might, and by my troth I thought he did thee so.
You're dazed, good sir. These thanks I have for making you see. Alas, that I ever was so kind.
Now, dame, let it all pass out of your mind, but by my father's soul, I thought I had seen how this Damien had by thee lain, and that thy smock had lain upon his breast.
Good sir, ye may think as ye like it, but sir, a man that waketh out of his sleep may not suddenly well take keep upon a thing, nor see it perfectly. Till your sight a healed be a while, there may be full many a sight that may you beguile. You may seem something and is other than it seemeth. After all, what a man misconceiveth, he misdeemeth.
This January, who is glad now but he? To his palace home hath he her led, and now, good folk, I pray to you, be glad.
Blackout.